Hi, everyone, and welcome to Organizing Towards Housing Justice in Austin, Texas, Fostering Creativity and Building Solidarity Amidst COVID-19. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are thrilled to present the premiere of our original radio play, feature an amazing panel of local artists and organizers, and discuss ways we can work towards these wonderful visions of housing justice y'all have just so generously shared with us. Also, in case you didn't catch this information before, please feel free to call 202-796-9304 for live Spanish translation of today's event. The play itself will be captioned in both English and Spanish, but we are providing live translation currently and for the conversation to follow. So, para español, por favor, llame 202-796-9304. My name is Anna Joaquin. I use she, her pronouns. I work alongside Gathering Ground Theater, and I'm very excited to be moderating today's event. Before we get started, we would like to thank the Cultural Arts Division of the City of Austin's Economic Development Department, as well as BASTA for supporting this event. Also, we would like to share that we are presenting this play, panel, and week of action in conjunction with Hunger and Homelessness Awareness Week, and that this is the first in a series of virtual events for BASTA's State of the Renter 2020, a series of forums which will be examining impacts of COVID-19 on the struggle for equity and tenants' rights in Texas. So that said, here is a rough agenda of our time together. As you can see, we will soon be streaming our radio play, which will be followed by a 5-minute break before we dive into our panel and discussion. And we will be sticking around for about 15 minutes after the event for anyone who would like to stay and ask questions. Also, I want to note that although we do have a break built in, we absolutely empower you to listen to your body and take care of yourselves however you may need to throughout our time together. So, for some brief context, earlier this year, we were devising at in-person rehearsals and getting ready to perform live. And you can see a glimpse of what that looked like on pages 4 and 5 of the program. Then our world changed drastically as we faced the unexpected death of one of our founding company members and dear friends, James Mosley, along with the harsh realities of COVID-19. So amidst a lot of grief, uncertainty, and isolation, we turned to group phone calls to keep us connected. And then navigating technology was especially challenging, but we managed to adapt our script, record parts via phone, and edit our recording sessions into a radio play with a runtime of about 35 minutes. So today we hope to inspire discussion, creativity, and action around housing injustices, which have in many cases been exacerbated by the pandemic. And now we are proud to present A Tale of Two Citizens, a people's struggle with housing in the capital city.
A Tale of Two Citizens, a people's struggle with housing in the capital city. This original radio play is a collaboration between Gathering Ground Theater and Speak Up Theater. A note about the use of the word citizen. We acknowledge that citizen can mean a lot of different things. In this play, we use citizen to include all people living in Austin, Texas, the people who struggle to find and keep housing in this city. We also want to acknowledge all the people who came before us
in this struggle, namely the original inhabitants of this land. We are gathered on the ancestral and unceded territory of the Tonkawa, Lipan Apache, Comanche, Coahuiltecan, Humanos, and Sana people. We pay our respects to their ancestors past, present, and future.
A tribute to James Mosley. James, you were always such an important part of our group that it is so hard to believe you are not with us anymore. You were a brave and present actor, always ready to share your energy and love. You were a talented poet, a gifted singer, and a committed collaborator on our journey of exploration and expression. It was such a gift to work with you, to fight for such an important part of our group, to know you, to believe we will always feel the warmth of your wise, charming smile. And we want to dedicate this play that you started with us to you.
Injustice hurts everyone.
Unjust systems benefit people
who looks the other way.
It's a slippery slope, isn't it, man?
Rage begins with a bit of injustice.
We will win.
We will overcome.
We will.
We will.
Hey, we know we will.
Scene 1. Happy New Year.
I am Blake, and I am playing journalist.
I am Jeannie, and I am playing worker B.
I am Steve-O, and I'm playing worker A.
I am Sheree, and I am playing Angela Clove, Citizen A.
I'm Ronnie, and I'm playing someone from another tent.
Disclaimer. Everything you are about to watch is completely legal. It's 4:08 a.m. The sound of a highway overpass. I-35 cuts through the city.
Relief Enterprise workers sweep brooms in rhythm. A chorus of Relief Enterprise workers sweeps in partial unison. They cross one another and spread out across the back of the stage and sweep, but mostly they take up space.
Rise and shine. Come on, wake up. All right, you knew we were coming. Notices went up last week. Anyone who doesn't vacate will be cited and arrested.
Man, I can't believe all this stuff we just got thrown away. This stuff.
Almost scooped up that iPhone.
Yeah, you saw those beats? They're still in the package. What a shame. We got dumped them all?
Worker A walks over to the other side of the camp and bats at a tent. The tent belongs to Angela Clove. It is clear that Angela is comfortable and has been there for years.
Come on, y'all. You had plenty of time to get your stuff together. Time to get going. We gotta finish up here.
Angela cries, then sobs.
Oh, you can't just treat my house like it's outside. This is my living room. This is my home. You can't destroy it.
We've been camping out here for 2 years. We've got squatters' rights.
Squatters' rights? Look where you live. I need a bridge. This is public land. No squatter rights. Your stuff is reserved for private property.
After 2 years, why today?
Ma'am, we don't have time for this. We've got 5 camps we need to hit today. The mayor's going to restore the image of this city. You got 10 minutes to tag anything you want to keep.
Worker A turns around and checks their watch. Worker A turns back around.
Your 10 minutes is up.
That was a quick 10 minutes. As Angela moves out, workers move in and bag up everything with an orange cloth. They take down the tent. They drag an untagged sentimental item on the ground. Maybe an Afghan or scarf.
Hey, you can't take that. That was my mother's. You can't do this. This is wrong.
I'm just following orders. I'm just cleaning up the streets, you know. Matter of fact, the city just put a bunch of money into cleaning up the streets this week, and it's the number priority of the city.
Where do you expect me to go?
Go talk to the city. If the mayor doesn't pick up, leave a message with the secretary. Talk to your case manager. If you don't have a case manager, get one. Numbers on the website. You'll have to make an account. Buy a phone if you don't have one. Put more minutes on it. Find a phone card. Make sure you have a charger. You need to fill a HUD-1 and a HUD-2 past employment history, WD-40, blah, blah, blah. Write to your city council person. Get to know your representatives.
You'll figure it out. I don't make the rules.
Well, what can I say, ma'am? Have a happy New Year's.
Workers drag everything away from the camp. Scene 2. You're not happy here.
I am Pat, and I'm playing greedy management.
I am Stephen, and I am playing Renee Stout, Citizen B.
Renee Stout, Citizen B, is asleep holding a baby. A knock on the door. We hear big keys jingle. Renee Stout's door swings open. Greedy Management stands at the entrance. They wear a beige polo shirt with the name Colossal Condo embroidered on it.
Management!
Hey, what's going on? We were sleeping. And now you woke my baby. Look, you just can't come into my apartment without notice.
Actually, I can. In Texas, if you ask for a repair, I can enter your apartment anytime without notice. Speaking of notices, I notice you've got a potted plant outside your door. Violation.
With each violation, Greedy Management clips one lease violation after another onto Renee.
Cigarette butts on the stairway at Colossal Condo is a violation. Trash outside your unit at Colossal Condo is a violation.
Oh, come on. That stuff isn't even mine. Look, I just wanted to get my hot water fixed.
We can put that on hold for now. But what's that? The refrigerator door upside down? Violation. A dirty air vent? Violation. Loud baby.
What? She's a baby.
Violation.
All right. I get it. Look, when is my hot water going to get fixed?
Noon. And by the way, being rude to management is also a violation.
Greedy Management looks at their ledger and shakes their head.
Oh no. This is unfortunate.
Oh, come on. What now?
It looks like you have enough violations to get evicted. I'm so sorry about this, but you have until the end of the month to relocate. Expect a notice to vacate on your door by the end of the day.
You have got to be kidding me.
Consider this a good thing. Rent's about to double here in the next few months anyway. And anyways, everyone knows you weren't happy here.
So this is what I get for trying to repair my hot water? This is totally not fair. Not fair at all.
Scene 3. You called that affordable?
I am Sheree, and I am playing Angela Clove, Citizen A.
I am Pat, and I'm playing Tired Caseworker.
Angela sits on a rock with Charlie the dog. They have been there for some time. Phone finally rings.
Hello?
Good news, number 1622. This is your city-appointed caseworker.
It's Angela. My name is Angela.
Right, number 1622. Bad news. I don't have any housing to offer you at this moment. Good news is that tomorrow at 2 p.m. there will be an auction for an apartment. It'd be packed, but I suggest you go down there and bid.
What? I don't know anything about this.
Listen, just trust me on this one and go where I tell you. Starting bid is $900 a month. The city can help you with rent for the first 6 months. I think you've got a good chance at winning. This is your best option for affordable housing.
You call $900 affordable? And what if I don't get it? This is ridiculous.
Look, like I said, the city is doing you a favor, and that's the only thing I got to offer at this moment. Should I put you down for the auction or not?
Will they let me bring Charlie?
Charlie?
Charlie is my best friend. We've been together since he was a pup.
I don't know. You'll have to take it up with the management if you get the place, that is.
I'm grateful but concerned. $900 is a lot of money. I need to find a good paying, stable job, or else after 6 months, I'll be back on the street. And there's no guarantee whether or not I will get that place or if they will let me bring Charlie.
Look, this is the best I can do for now. The good news is that I got you a job with the city cleaning up the streets. It's with the Capital City Relief Enterprise workers.
You want me to work for the people who destroyed my camp? You must be out of your mind.
We're paid $15 an hour. You should be happy.
Scene 4, the auction.
I am Pat, and I'm playing Greedy Management.
I am Sheree, and I am playing Angela Clove, Citizen A.
Greedy Management stands outside of an apartment unit with a bullhorn. It is Renee's unit, and it is up for auction. All gather around.
Step right up, people. Come on, come all. Single file line. We have a 500 square foot apartment. 1 bed, 1 bath. Starting bid is $900 a month. Some in the bath and the living room, but not the bad kind. The roaches are only in the kitchen. Can't put plants on your porch or let your baby cry too loud. All that for $900. This is a steal. You tell me where you find a better deal.
Please.
I need it for the apartment.
No, we've been waiting for much longer. No,
come on, I really need this place.
Come on, please. Please, it's not enough for everybody.
Back up, single file line. Too many people, we've only got one apartment on the market this afternoon. But I can't decide which one you should get it. The fairest way to do this is to have a good old fair and square raffle. People, have your numbers ready.
Greedy Management reveals a big wheel with numbers.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's showtime. Spin the wheel.
The suspense is high.
And the winner is number 113.
That's me.
You are number 113, Angela Clove.
Yes, that's me.
Come this way. I need you to deposit. Do you have your paperwork?
Oh my
God!
God!
Look at it. This isn't right.
No,
that wasn't even fair.
It's really unfair.
All exit. It's loud. They are still fighting. Scene 5. Behind closed doors.
I am Jeannie, and I'm playing the mayor.
I am Blake, and I'm playing real estate developer.
The mayor and rich developer gather around a large, round table. The lighting is dimmed. Someone is smoking a cigar.
As you all know, our efforts to make Capital City the #1 capital city in the nation has seen great support from far and wide. The president is talking about us. New businesses are moving in. New housing is going up as we speak. Governor Abe has relocated many of the city's homeless to Camp Cat on the outskirts of town. This is progress. But still, I'm unsatisfied. It seems like the tents are growing. There are more and more every day. What a complete eyesore. The tourists hate it. Citizens at City Council are asking for my resignation if I don't take care of this problem. We need to beautify the city and fast.
Mr. Mayor, rest easy. Look, I'm a developer, yes, but at the end of the day, I'm a businessman. You and I, we understand each other. We see eye to eye. You see, we must do things systematically, one step at a time. We must think outside of the box. I can help you, but first, you're going to help me. You've got to find a solution for getting the homeless out. And no affordable housing. Sounds nice on paper, but it never works. It reminds me when I was the lead architect for the Great Dubai Mall and everyone doubted me. But I cleaned it up. Or the time I beautified Paris in the middle of the last recession. You can trust me. Improving Capital City will be one of my finest works yet. Excuse me. Hello? What? Get him out of there. I've got condos to build. Look, I'm a businessman. If business isn't growing, it's dying. And if my business is dying, that's a problem. I pay taxes, damn it. Taxes that pay your salary. That means you work for me. Fine, it's a write-off. What? No, I can't have that thing across the street. It'll bring down property values. Sure. You can have my money to build the shelter and low-cost housing, whatever, just as long as all of that stuff is on the other side of town. If you build out there, it won't be in the middle of nowhere. Don't you worry about the mayor, okay? He works for me.
Scene 6. Improving the image.
I am Jeannie, and I'm playing the mayor.
I am Blake, and I'm playing real estate developer.
I am Stephen, and I am playing Renee Stout, Citizen B.
I'm Kate, and I'm playing the journalist.
Press conference outside the Capitol building. 6:08 p.m. Mayor and his cronies, rich developer, and uncourageous city council members stand behind a podium. This is a PR stunt, not a solution. We see images of cranes, a city in development.
People of Capital City, thank you for your encouragement, your perspective, and for your stories over the past week. The council and I have listened. We decided to move towards a new model to address the housing crisis document, and our priorities are reflected in what we fund. That is why the council has decided to make homelessness our #1 priority. Now I'd like to introduce my colleague and friend, Mr. Don Talbot.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, it's true that homelessness is our #1 priority. To address the needs of the people, we must think strategically. What I'm proposing will sound unorthodox at first, but it's a method with proven results. First, we will redesign downtown, the Riverwalk, and the outskirts of the city to maximize our international appeal. Reinvigorating the tourist attractions means more jobs and more affordable housing. The best part is, you will still be able to live in luxury. We can have it all. This is my vision for Capital City, to enhance our living, to live in comfort.
Rich developer receives great applause. Then a person in the crowd speaks out. It's Renee Stout.
Excuse me, sir. Won't this plan raise taxes and speed up gentrification? And what does luxury living have to do with homelessness?
Well, these plans are still being finalized.
These are great questions. Sir, how long have you been homeless?
I've been homeless on and off for about 10 years.
Perfect. You, my friend, are just what we have been looking for. We want to hear from you. We are listening.
Applause.
The way I see it, great cities don't just happen. They're built by people and organizations that care deeply. People and organizations that understand the needs of the most vulnerable people, the poorest among us. That's why I think that this is a very important moment for all of us. A day where the people who have the least can still get heard. I feel it's a privilege and a great duty to serve the people. First, we supply shelter, then employment, then we teach financial habits for success, savings and investments and values to help empower people's future.
Yes, excuse me. How do you respond to those who say that people don't want to work, that many people don't want savings or investments? Some people say they just want hand-me-downs and handouts.
I disagree. Sometimes you just need a little bit of support and a little push forward to start feeling happy and fulfilled.
Mayor receives great applause and ovations.
To commemorate this moment, I'd like to call upon someone who shared her story with us at council a few weeks ago. I'd like to personally offer her a job. Ms. Angela Clove, are you out there?
Angela steps forward.
Ms. Clove, welcome aboard.
Mayor hands Angela a fancy cleaning bag, Relief Enterprise worker hat, and vest. There are cameras and handshakings.
We are moving things forward. We're providing jobs. We're cleaning up the streets. We're doing our best. Over the next 6 months, we will roll out our plans for revitalization. No more questions. Thank you.
Scene 7. You'll get used to it.
I am Sheree, and I am playing Angela Clove, Citizen A.
I am Stephen, and I am playing Renee Stout, Citizen B.
I am Steve-O, and I'm playing Worker A.
Under an overpass of a highway downtown, 6:08 a.m. Angela Clove stands center stage. She fastens her Relief Enterprise vest and lets out a long sigh. She walks over to a camp and gently bats at a tent.
Wake up. You gotta get going.
Oh, come on. My baby and I just got settled down. Look, can't you just pass us by?
I'm sorry you can't stay here.
Hey, Angela, is this guy giving you trouble?
No, he's all right. Just give him a minute.
Oh, first day on the job, huh? Don't worry. You'll get used to it.
Scene 8. Paradise Estates.
I am Blake, and I'm playing real estate developer.
I am Jeannie, and I'm playing the mayor.
I am Stephen, and I am playing Renee Stout, Citizen B.
I am Sheree, and I am playing Angela Clove, Citizen A.
I am Pat, and I'm playing Greedy Management.
6 months later. Outside the colossal condo, city developer stands proudly center stage. City council member and mayor hold a sign. People stand waiting in line nearby.
Today we celebrate a big victory for the capital city. This dump will be turned into real apartments, a hotel, and new retail spaces. What is there today will not be here tomorrow. Drum roll, please. We are proud to present the Paradise Estates.
The big reveal. Mayor and council hold up a sign. It reads, Paradise Estates, a little slice of heaven for everyone.
Can't just take our homes away.
What about the tax and rent? Sorry, makes sense.
Paradise Estates will have more affordable housing than any other development.
Transition. Renee and Angela are reading headlines from today's newspaper.
February 2020. According to a city survey, 43% of residents say they were displaced because their rent was rising above what their household could afford. There are currently a dozen different programs designed to help add more affordable housing with benefits for developers. But increasingly, More developers are paying fees in lieu of affordable housing to the city when they decide to build to avoid providing affordable units.
10 more developers are set to pay another $12 million in fees. Unbelievable. In the next 4 years, the city is set to lose another 5,000 income-restricted units that were funded or built with incentives for developers from the city. Oh, Lord, I am so tired. When will we ever see justice?
A knock on the door. Greedy Management's shirt says Paradise Estates.
As you may have heard, this building is being rezoned. Demolition coming in is going to be really nice. They're even talking about bringing in a coffee shop. You have 120 days to vacate.
Slaps down a notice and exits.
Wait, are you serious? Can I catch a break?
Scene 9. Don't I know you?
I am Pat, and I'm playing Sally, employee.
I am Sheree, and I am playing Angela Clove, Citizen A.
I am Stephen, and I am playing Renee Stout, Citizen B.
Angela and Renee are in line outside the Salvation Army. Both carry a bedroll, HEB bag, and backpack. Renee is holding a baby.
Step right up, people. Over here. Single file line. No pushing. Hey, you back there. Get in the line. The good news is that we have one bed left, folks. Gonna start a lottery. Just give me a minute to get this organized.
Renee sees Angela.
Hey, don't I know you?
Renee recognizes Angela as one of the Relief Enterprise workers who took down his tent earlier in the year. Angela does not recognize Renee from that moment.
Not sure. Can't connect your face with the name.
Renee stares at Angela, trying to remember. He's convinced he knows her from somewhere.
I do know you. You work for the sweeps. You kicked us out several months ago.
I don't work there anymore. I'm sorry. Times have been rough. That was the only thing I could do to get a place, and...
Hey, I understand. They snatch you up when you're at your lowest. They make you sweep your friends' tents.
It was terrible. I was sent to clean up the same camp I used to live at. I left after that. Maybe it wasn't smart. I don't know. But I was about to lose my place anyway because they were updating the complex. So who knows? Back to Sally, I guess.
Oh, by the way, my name is Renee.
I'm Angela. And the little one?
Oh, this is Sam. Hey, she likes you.
Sally worker returns.
Hey,
I need it.
I've been waiting on
There's only one bed.
I've been waiting line for hours.
I've been waiting a long time.
I really need to get in
All
there
right,
tonight.
folks, quiet down. The last number for tonight is number 77.
Neither Angela or Renee get the bed.
Hey, Renee's got a baby. What are they supposed to do?
Try again tomorrow. Sorry.
Hey, don't worry about me. I've got a camp I can go to. I've already got it set up. Are you going to be okay?
Yeah, I'll figure something out. I'll see you around.
Both Angela and Renee begin to leave. Then Renee turns back to Angela.
Hey, Angela. Not sure if you're busy, but I'm going to go speak at City Hall tomorrow morning. There's a vote coming up, and it could be big. Do you want to come with me?
For what?
Well, after all the protests, they decided to take a vote on diverting money from the police budget to affordable housing and public services.
Why would they listen to us?
Because we are the ones who suffer from these issues the most. They have to. Let's get together. I am so tired. All these people up there are juggling our lives around and they won't bother to hear what we have to say. So let's make them.
Scene 10. We're all we've got.
I am Sheree, and I am playing Angela Clove, Citizen A.
I am Jeannie, and I am playing the mayor.
I am Stephen, and I am playing Renee Stout, Citizen B.
City Hall, downtown, 6:05 p.m. Angela and Renee sit side by side. They have been waiting to speak since 11 a.m. Angela approaches the mayor and city council first.
Good evening. My name is Angela Clove. This is my second time speaking at council. I was a resident of the 20th district, that is until I was forced out of my home last month due to rising rents. For too long, the city has supported policies and practices that keep power in the hands of the few. Capital City already spends enough money on housing. No one lives to pay rent. Everyone deserves housing. Without affordable housing, people struggle to survive. How is anyone supposed to thrive when so many of us are trapped in this cycle? I get an apartment, I lose it, and I have to start all over again. It's an embarrassment for all of us. Housing and dignity are a human right. Thank you very much.
Mrs. Clove, thank you for sharing. Our next speaker is Renee Stout.
Renee walks up to the podium.
Go ahead, you have 2 minutes.
Hello, good evening, Council. My name is Renee Stout. I'm a single father and a disabled veteran. All I want is a good life for my daughter. I have heard this council talk and deliberate about their priorities like housing and homelessness for far too long. I couldn't agree more with what the speaker before shared. We need support services for people who are unhoused, services that actually meet their needs. This is not a cookie-cutter, one-size-fits-all issue. We need affordable housing that is actually affordable. We need more protections and rights for renters. We need to understand that we are all in this together.
We will win. We will overcome. We will win.
All right, y'all, thank you so much for tuning into our world premiere. We are now going to take a 5-minute break before our panel, so we'll see you at 2:45. Thanks so much. Hey everyone, we are back and we are joined today by some incredible artists and organizers, and we are thrilled to introduce them to you all now. So to kick us off, let's hear from our guest panelists. Chris, Shoshana, and Marina, could you share your names, pronouns, and organizations? You can start, Shoshana.
My name is Shoshana Krieger, she, her, hers, and I am with FOSTA, Building and Strengthening Tenant Action. We organize tenants into tenants associations in Austin, and so happy to be here today and continue to be awed by the group of performers from Gathering Ground and Tenants Speak Up Theater.
Thanks, Shoshana. And how about you, Marina?
Hey y'all, my name is Marina Roberts. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a public school teacher and a union member. And I'm just an Austin DSA member as well, who has been involved in housing justice organizing for the last several years. This past summer, I participated in an effort to sort of defeat an attempt to recriminalize homelessness in Austin. And I was in tears watching the play all. It was really, really good. It was really a great story. I'm glad to be here.
Thanks so much, Marina. We're happy you're here. And we are also joined by Chris Harris.
Hi, everyone. Chris Harris, he, him, with Texas Appleseed. Yeah, that was so incredible. And to think that, having pre-pandemic seen some of the initial thoughts around this and to see it come to fruition is just so special. And I'm so, so proud of everybody involved. And it was really great.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you for joining us. We're really, really glad to have you here today. And now we would love to introduce you to our featured artists. Could we start with you, Kate?
Hi, I'm Kate. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm an organizer with FOSTA, and I work with and alongside the amazing performers and activists at Gathering Ground Theater and Tenants Speak Up Theater.
And Stephen?
Just a sec. Let's see if this works.
Good.
I'm getting the host to stop my video.
Oh no.
Okay, let's try that. There we go.
Yay.
Hello.
Hey, Stephen, could you share name, pronouns, and which organization you're with?
Okay, name Stephen Potter, pronouns he, him, that guy over there. Gathering Ground Theater, plus I wear a bunch of other hats, but for this, yes.
Thank you. And Lisa? While you're getting that ready, Lisa, we can move on to Steve-O.
Hey guys.
Hey, it's so nice that you could join us on video.
Hey, it's the best thing. I could watch football and talk to you guys.
True. Share your name, pronouns, and which organization you're with.
Your audio cut out, Steve-O.
Could you repeat that for a bit? Sorry, your audio cut out, Steve-O.
Okay. Still with me?
Yeah, you're all
Yeah. So I got storage out of it and a house finally and AHAC. So Southport AHAC. Thank you.
Yeah. Lisa, can you hear us now? That's all right. Jeannie, can you hear us?
Yeah. My name's Jeannie. I guess pronouns would be she and her. I'm with Tenant Speak Out and also an active member of a tenants association working with VOSTA.
Amazing. Thanks, Jeannie. Sheree, you're up next. Can you hear us, Sheree or Lisa? If not, it's all good, and we can hopefully hear from you later. Ronnie, you want to close us out for now?
Sure. Hey there, I'm Ronnie. I used to be with Gathering Ground and Tenant Speak Up and Basta. And now I'm still contributing some. So yeah.
That's the wonderful thing about Zoom is now we are all able to still stay in touch, even though we're not all in the same place. And as a reminder too, if you are calling in, you can press *6 to unmute. So I don't know if that helps Sheree and Lisa. But to start, let's just get into these questions because Chris and Shoshana, you actually visited our rehearsals for the play early on to talk about the rights or lack thereof of tenants and people experiencing homelessness in Austin. And then that information then inspired our own devising process. And Marina, you've also organized and worked with many of us before. And now that you three have heard the play for the first time, was there a particular moment that stood out to you as first-time listeners?
Oh, definitely for me, it was in someone who was experiencing homelessness or recently experienced homelessness being now recruited to work for the companies that are doing the sweeps of people experiencing homelessness. I thought that was so real and honest, and also just so heartbreaking to know that this is happening. That not only are people having their possessions taken and being forced to leave, a place they found some level of safety and comfort in within the horrible circumstance of being unhoused, but then to be forced into through desperation, actually taking a role of doing that to others, and that is something that they're actually recruiting folks who had been unhoused to do that work. Is it's just so heartbreaking to think about people being in that situation and that happening.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for sharing.
I think for me, the scene with the manager doling out all of those lease violations as a tenant is living in a crappy and substandard housing, which is something we at BASTA see every day, and the tenants and the tenants associations we work with see every day, and kind of the illustration of just kind of how fine a line it is between being housed and unhoused, and how this threat of eviction casts a shadow over every single tenant interaction, and oftentimes paralyzes tenants, understandably, from trying to effectuate their rights, because they know that if they try, even with the mediocre and really subpar tenants' rights, which tenants have in Texas, but even if you try to enforce those, you risk being homeless. And so that means that people understandably don't speak up, which is why having a tenant speak up, the tenants participating in tenant speak up theater and Gathering Ground theater are even more remarkable than they already are, that they know of how that they're taking a risk in speaking up and speaking out, but they also understand the importance of doing that in pursuit of larger justice and being able to have a world which isn't the world we have right now, and of dreaming and envisioning a place and a housing landscape in our city that is better than the landscape that we currently have. And I know that when we were meeting pre-pandemic, in the rehearsals, a lot of the conversation kind of centered around the lack of rights. But then the kind of skits which folks performed after that weren't just centered on the lack of rights. It was dreaming of what the world could be.
Yeah, a lot of vicious cycles that we'll definitely talk about later, and Jeannie as well. And we're happy to figure out how to disrupt those cycles. Marina, do you want to add something?
Yeah. So, like I mentioned, I'm a public school teacher, so I've got a lot of experience talking on Zoom calls at this point, but it's kind of a nice change of pace to actually see other people's faces. So it's really good to see all of y'all. I know most of y'all, and the play was really wonderful. The thing that I think moved me the most was actually the scene where Miss Sheree's character and Steven's character are meeting each other outside of the room auction, and they're just regular people having a conversation about how they have the same problem. And Steven's character is like, hey, look, I'm going to go to City Hall tomorrow and I'm going to testify about this police budget. Do you want to come with me? And that is community organizing. I think that a lot of the time people think of community organizing as being, I don't know, some kind of really complicated thing where there's like you have to read a lot of theory or something to do it. And that's not it at all. Community organizing is as simple as whenever two people have the same problem and they get together and talk about how to solve it together. Mm-hmm. And so the way that was captured in in this play, that was actually the part where I started crying, because the power of that moment is, I think there is no way to overstate how much that matters, because whenever two people connect like that, they have the power of everybody else that they know who they can connect with and pull into that fight too. And I know that's what Gathering Ground does. That's what Basta does. That's what, folks like me and Chris, just in our community organizing capacities, right? Like that's what we try to do. And that's how you build a movement, right? That's how you change stuff. And I really love the very simple, beautiful way that was captured in this play.
Thanks, Marina. We really appreciate that. And it's super touching for us to hear from an audience for the first time, because there were definitely moments this year when we weren't sure we were going to be able to finish the project or pull it off once COVID hit. So it's great to hear that those themes and moments still came across and had an impact, even if not how we initially intended. Steven, could you share a bit about what the process of creating the project was like? Both how it started and then how your approach shifted once we switched to a radio play?
Well, with that, originally I was aiming for a lot more theatrical stage play. And it was a lot more it was a lot more Tale of Two Cities, but the development of the play itself, it kind of grew from that. It kind of took on a life of its own, which creative projects do. Mm-hmm. And actually had a lot more impact than I had originally given the idea of. So I'm glad to see it grow that way. Quite frankly, what we were able to do, and this was just recording from, I've got a pretty crappy phone, and some of the others, just the raw audio and what they were able to do with that, and actually make it something that was really powerful, is a testament to the work that they have done. I am very glad to have been a part of this. There is one thing I would like to mention. The characters in that play, where the homeless are being hired to clean up the other encampments, that actually reminds me a lot of what Easter Seals was doing. I believe one of our members, or someone I know, was actually sent by a case manager to Easter Seals to do just that. I want to differentiate between what that was and what the Other One's Foundation does. with our Workforce First program. Chris is an amazing guy. So is Max, and so the rest of them. They pretty much refused the state when they asked the Other Ones Foundation to come in and do this kind of thing. I got a chance to spend a little time with them sometime last year, I think, with their cleanup crews, and they're not taking down tents. They were respectful. They were just getting what trash they needed to take, making it clean, making it neat, making it sanitary. And for a lot of those camps, they built good relationships with those folks who were there. I just wanted to point that out, that the Other Ones Foundation, what they're doing, that's the right way to do things. What was in the play is a lot closer to what the Easter Seals and even the state had in mind. So, yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that differentiation. And the Other Ones Foundation is also one of our League of Action organizations we're going to uplift. So we definitely appreciate that insider perspective as well and how it's different. And as we were mentioning before, something key to our play is that it engages with those cycles of housing instability and displacement and criminalization of homelessness. And it is unfortunately quite easy to just one day find yourself unhoused. So in thinking about housing insecurity, Jeannie, as a tenant organizer in an active tenant association, you're no stranger to bully management and manipulation, just kind of like what we see in the play. How have you navigated behaviors before, and do you have any tips for other tenants who may be suffering from unfair retaliation, especially in the midst of a pandemic?
Well, I think the biggest tip that I can give anybody is just stand your ground. And it's not easy. It really isn't. And I know how frightening it is, because when I first came to the complex where I live, we had a lot of really horrible bullies in the office, and people were afraid to even talk to each other. So we've made a lot of progress in 4 years, and I credit Basta with most of that, because without their help, we would not have gotten off the ground. But the main thing is, join hands and unite with other people. Use that voice that you have and speak out. And yes, they may retaliate, but Basta has help for you if you do face that kind of discrimination. And I'm not going to tell you it's easy, because it's not. We faced it from our own, from other tenants even. It's like, why are we stirring all this up? Just, leave it alone. But if we want to improve where we're living, we have to stand up to the bullies. And unfortunately, management here in Texas, they have most of the rights. And until we, as a group, speak out against that and change the laws, then we don't have all we have are our voices. And so we have to use them.
Thanks for that, Jean.
I did want to say one thing. We were at one of the meetings not long ago, and the management has posted a bunch of notices on a bulletin board instead of actually on people's doors or anything. And all I could think about was in the play where Pat's going, violation, violation, violation. And I just wanted to laugh, and I couldn't. I had to stifle it because I knew it was a serious meeting, but I kept hearing her in my head, violation, violation, violation. Yeah, it brought the play even more home to me. Yeah, that's it. Sorry.
A lot of what's depicted in the play is grounded in our real life experiences. So that's part of what makes it so powerful. And then speaking to the point we brought up earlier about evictions, as many of you know, Austin is the fastest growing city in the US, and with that comes rising gentrification, rents, and displacement. So Shoshana, could you perhaps share a bit about the work that Basta and Eviction Solidarity Network does, and perhaps expand upon how lease violations and evictions are impacting renters in Austin?
Sure. And I think that the Jeannie's comment about kind of having ringing in her head, violation, violation, violation is a great segue to that. And Jeannie, we should use that sound bite that we can just like play whenever that happens, right? And I would say on that, and one of the things I loved about this play is that humor is in there, and that like things are bad, but we need to figure out how to laugh and have fun as we're in this fight. Because if we don't laugh and have fun, there really is no hope. And so violation, 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 we should use over and over, and we should take what they are using as trying to take our power and co-opt that violation and laugh at them and show the absurdity of that. And that in some ways takes away some of that power. But so what Boston has been doing since COVID hit is a lot. And a lot of what we've been doing is just maintaining our existing tenants association work and figuring out how to do that within the digital divide, which I think we'll be talking about a little bit later, which has been a real challenge. How do we organize when we can't actually have a meeting together? And so how do we make sure that the dozen tenants associations we have are able to still meet virtually and continue the work that they've been doing? And that could range from fighting back against bogus lease violations or notices to vacate, which threaten actual imminent eviction. And at Arbors at Creekside, where Jeannie lives, very early on in the pandemic, the Tenants Association was organizing to get management to stop, to retract a bunch of notices to vacate, and they were successful. At Arbors at Creekside, they've had a campaign to get better sanitation practices in that senior property with the pandemic, and that's largely been successful. At a Paisano Mobile Home Park in Villas of Cordova, they've been having bullying managers for a long time, and those campaigns continued in that pandemic, managers who gave bogus lease violations. And during the pandemic, they still organized, and those managers are now gone from those properties. At Riverside Townhomes and Pleasant Hill Apartments, they've been struggling with mold, and now that tenants are forced to stay at home and stay in place, right, the mold affects health more, and they've been fighting to get remediation, and the remediation has been continuing. At North Lamar Mobile Home Park, where residents for a long time have gotten violations for all sorts of things of the skirting on their mobile home isn't right, all sorts of things. They continue their organizing, and they said, we're going to buy our property, and they bought their property. So now if they're the ones giving, the co-op is the one giving lease violations, which they had to do, right? So that's an interesting shift. But at least those lease violations are hopefully much more sound than some of the other ones. So that's kind of our bread and butter tenants association work. And then we've also been supporting this project in moving forward and figuring out how we do that in a pandemic. And then there's Eviction Solidarity Network, which is a coalition of DSA, BASTA, Austin Tenants Council, Texas Housers, also Justice Coalition, Planning Our Communities, also Women in Housing. And we've been organizing to show up at eviction hearings. The tenant protections have changed a lot during COVID-19, but we're starting to see hearings again, to track those hearings, to give feedback to the courts about what they're getting right, what they're getting wrong, and then to connect tenants to resources to make sure that they have the ability to connect with attorneys to fight their cases where there are or aren't defenses. And then also to just make sure that we are focusing on also the worst actor landlords who are engaging in evictions as a collection practice, and developing campaigns with DSA to target those. Anyone who's interested in information about how to get involved and volunteer with Eviction Solidarity Network can go to evictionisnotacure.com. Next weekend, we're hoping to hang 10,000 door hangers more onto doors. So you can sign up there to be able to find out how to volunteer to help make that happen, so tenants know the rights they have.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that insight, Shoshana, and we'll definitely be touching back at that action at the end. And then, of course, the thing is, like, if people are unhoused, those rights don't improve at all. In fact, people are often criminalized for being unhoused. And Chris, could you share more about your work as the Director of Criminal Justice Programs at Texas Appleseed, and also briefly talk about relationships you've seen between criminalization and homelessness in Austin?
Sure. Yeah. Well, Gathering Ground Theater was really, launched an effort in 2017 to help restore some of the rights of people experiencing homelessness, specifically um, to end the criminalization of sitting, lying down, camping, and asking for help in the city of Austin. We had 3 local city of Austin ordinances that um, meant that these activities were actually against the law and could result in tickets, arrests, and often did result in warrants and additional barriers for people experiencing homelessness to even get into housing, because now they have outstanding warrants, can't get identification, can't get driver's licenses. So they're further impacted in their ability to get housing and get jobs, which run background checks and require ID and all sorts of things that were being denied. And it took, almost 2 years, but we were able to significantly curtail last year the ordinances that criminalize those activities, such that we see very few tickets specifically for those things now. And obviously, what we've also seen is a real effort to roll those changes back. Obviously, we've seen that homelessness has become more visible in our city, particularly once camping was no longer criminalized. And that was immediately met with efforts to roll everything back, and did roll things back a little bit. But what it was also met with was a real state level focus that's now transitioned into a city level focus on sweeping camps of people experiencing homelessness, which you all's performance today highlighted. The real injustice of how those sweeps are undertaken so well. And so we have continued the fight to both protect the changes that were made to ensure that folks aren't criminalized for simply trying to live and not having housing, meaning that they can continue to sleep and sit and lie. And by and large, this year, that took the form of really transitioning our Homes Not Handcuffs coalition that fought for the decrim to really focus on beating back a ballot measure that was people were trying to put on the November ballot that would have turned all those rules back and actually made them worse than before. Would have recriminalized camping, would have recriminalized sitting down and asking for help. And I'm happy to say that we were able, they were unsuccessful in collecting enough signatures to put that on the ballot. Thanks to some amazing organizing work within and throughout this movement and the coalition. I want to give a big shout out to Marina, as well as my colleague Seneca, for all their efforts on that campaign, and Jess Brand as well, in helping to make sure we have people out at the polls to help educate folks where they were trying to collect signatures, to ensure that folks understood the petition, unlike what people were saying, was not trying to help people experiencing homelessness. It was trying to punish them. And so, we had, really focused our efforts on preparing for November, trying to prevent them from getting signatures and preparing for November. And, luckily it wasn't on the ballot, so we didn't have to deal with it. Unfortunately, we continue to hear whispers that the same people involved, groups like Take Back Austin and our voices and some of these other groups continue to receive money from the same folks as before, and that many of them would like to try the petition again. Obviously, they were harmed by the lockdowns during the pandemic in terms of collecting signatures. So, we are very much aware if they were to restart it, they might have success again. And so we want to continue to keep our eye on that ball and do that. The other thing that we've done, and I'll wrap up quickly here, is we were very active in efforts locally to help reallocate funds from the police department into housing, into services for people experiencing homelessness. While we didn't get all that we wanted out of that effort, I'm happy to say that there was a significant new investment, particularly in permanent supportive housing for people experiencing homelessness, included in the budget that passed this year. And so we're going to continue to push to make sure that those funds are allocated justly and fairly and swiftly as possible to folks, and people are getting housed. And continue to ensure that any efforts to backslide aren't successful. And then finally, I think we want to support the efforts of those with Street Forum, with Stop the Sweeps, and other groups that are actively working now to help prevent the next thing that they're doing now to unsettle and displace people experiencing homelessness, which is through the way that they're undertaking trash cleanup and things like that throughout the city. So, I would say one thing that folks can do now is there's a website called austinissaferwin.org. It's, and there's a petition there that you can sign. It's designed to help ensure that efforts to reallocate funding towards a broader vision of public safety, a vision of public safety that includes housing, that includes social services for folks in the most need, continues, and that we continue to see budgets at the city level that reflect that priority, right? Safety isn't just policing. In fact, the policing can be unsafe for many folks. And so what we actually want to do is have a vision of safety that talks about housing, that talks about healthcare, that talks about substance use, behavioral health, mental health, prioritizes all of those, that thinks about how we respond to the pandemic and how our public health is being cared for. And then when we say public safety, we mean all of these things together, so that we're really talking about a just meaning of safety for all in our city.
Thanks for that. And I also appreciate the kind of coalition building you mentioned and how orgs can work together to work towards common goals. And Marina, as a fellow Democratic Socialists of America member, you organize around interconnected struggles of housing justice, racial justice, labor justice, environmental justice, gender and sexuality justice, and more. Can you share more about DSA's theory of change and what solidarity means to you?
Yes. So I want to bring everybody back to the night that we did successfully decriminalize homelessness in Austin, like Chris mentioned. So on that night, whenever there was the city vote, we were testifying for hours and hours and hours. So that scene that was in the play was very real, It
was a long night.
Yes, it was. We were out there until like 1 or 2 in the morning. And I want to specifically remember Stephen Potter's testimony that he gave that night, because he talked about how the same businesses downtown that are that complain about homelessness the most loudly are the same businesses that pay their workers a wage that is below a living wage, right? They pay the lowest possible wage that they can. And I want to remember that, because I want to point out to everybody that housing justice is not an issue that's in isolation, right? Housing injustice is connected to a lot of different other types of injustice. We tend to think of homelessness as a housing problem, and it is, that's correct. But it is also a wage problem, because if your wages are not living wages, then your ability to afford housing obviously is going to be hit by that. If you are a person with a chronic medical condition and you do not have access to any kind of healthcare, you can't afford healthcare, and then that causes you to be unable to work, that causes you to lack the wages that you would need to afford housing. If the breadwinner of your family is an undocumented person and then they get stolen from their home by ICE and deported, then the stability of that entire family gets impacted by that. And that's another way that people can become homeless, right? That people's housing can become unstable. Domestic violence is another very linked up issue where a lot of the time survivors of domestic violence wind up on the street because they choose to leave their abusers. And I want you to think about that tension, right? That if you're in that situation where you're in an abusive relationship, but you don't have anywhere else to go, you have to choose between homelessness or remaining with an abuser. And either choice is a terrible choice. So for me, thinking about the interconnectedness of these issues, that is why I'm a socialist. I don't think of any of these issues as being able to be solved in isolation, because the entire system of capitalism, right, where you can only be successful if you step on somebody else. And these landlords and these bosses and a lot of these politicians deeply, deeply believe that, and they're happy to go along with that. And so it's up to us to do something about it that doesn't just, kind of put a Band-Aid on the problem, but solves the bigger systemic stuff, feeding more and more people into the streets every single day. And that's the stuff that I think, that our movement, that the democratic socialist movement in the United States is chiefly concerned with, is making sure that, people's needs are met. And so I think the way that I might kind of summarize socialism as it relates to housing is we believe that housing should be decommodified. So that's a fancy word that just means we think housing shouldn't be bought and sold, right? It shouldn't be a commodity, which means it should not be a thing to be bought and sold. Housing should be a human right. And the reason why we believe that is because your ability to purchase safety and security shouldn't be, your ability to be safe and secure should not depend on whether you can buy it, right? Whether you can afford it. That's why people wind up on the street. I have a brother who lives on the street right now. My mama was homeless for several years of her life. Whenever I was in college, I only had a housing scholarship during the year. And so during the summers, I would work night shifts and sneak into my dorm through a basement window and sleep on couches and stuff, right? So this is a very pervasive issue, and it's linked to poverty. It's linked to class. It's linked to money. And so, I think that's probably the way that I would summarize it.
Yes, that's beautiful. And then also thinking about organizing and those interconnected struggles in the time of COVID. I'm curious to know how y'all have approached mutual aid and collective action during the pandemic, and specifically what barriers you faced and how you've overcome them, from tech or a digital divide to language justice. I know, Shoshana, you have some experience with language justice work at BASTA. Could you share a little bit about that?
Sure. I mean, I just want to, well, actually, before getting to digital divide stuff, I want to just ping off of what Marina was talking about in terms of interconnectedness. And Marina, you were talking about kind of very meta interconnectedness. And I think there's also interconnectedness even within the housing spectrum, which this play also really highlights, which is the homelessness to substandard housing. And then oftentimes in policy conversations, it's if we decrease our numbers of folks experiencing homelessness, then we've solved the problem. But oftentimes our policies just sweep the larger issues under the rug, because what we do and what our systems do is we place people in crappy housing in bad conditions, and we give vouchers to landlords whose pockets get fatter and fatter, and folks are living in really, really terrible conditions. And then we all pat ourselves on the back and we're like, we have fewer homeless folks. But what we actually have is a lot more people in really terrible housing. and a lot more landlords who are profiting off of that really terrible housing. And then we knock on the doors and we say, hey, you want to organize? And folks are like, yo, I don't want to be back on the street. And that makes a lot of sense. But so we're putting a Band-Aid on that problem, even within the housing spectrum. And we have to say that the solution isn't just decreasing the number of folks who are living on the street, but it's putting them in quality housing and not just ignoring the problem by allowing slumlords to profit more and having public subsidy to those slumlords. But on the digital divide topic, I think that, I mean, who's watching right now, right? Like, a lot of folks who are directly impacted are not able to log on to the YouTube easily. That to get the folks who are the actors even onto this program today, I know took y'all organizers hours upon hours of figuring out who has Wi-Fi, who has devices, walking people through how to get on. For us to have a 5-person steering committee meeting, we now need to have 3 staff at least involved in it, from facilitating, making sure that folks who, and 2 folks to make sure that people are getting on and off, aren't dropping off, barriers to low income internet programs, huge, barriers to just having a device to use at all. And it's a really, we're not going to be able to organize folks unless we confront this digital divide issue. And then you asked about language justice. FOSTA is deeply committed to language justice work, and some of our properties, we've had meetings in 5 languages simultaneously interpreted. Doing that in a digital space, so much harder. And I mean, shout out to all of the interpreters and Susana Pimiento and her team who have really supported our work. But that exacerbates the issue even more. And so if you're not an English speaker, you have both digital divide and language access barriers. And it's something we need to be talking about and not just saying, oh, we're on another Zoom panel talking about these things, but who are we talking to? And are we expanding our base? And are we expanding the network of folks who can be organizing and directly impacted folks who need to be front and center in leading this movement? And there aren't easy answers to it, but it's something that we need to be naming in every space that we are in. And we need to be thinking creatively of how we are finding solutions to these problems, and not just kind of in our Zoom rooms preaching to the choir.
I appreciate that. And with that in mind, this actually brings us to our week of action. So often after attending a one event like a Zoom room or a play, we're often in the moment feel an urge to do something to help, but are unsure of how to start, right? So we wanted to offer a range of virtual and in-person opportunities to get involved and foster those connections, build relationships, and build power. And all of these opportunities are hyperlinked on page 11 of the program. So feel free to view that at tiny.cc/tail2020 program. And awesome, it's shared on the screen so you can see that there. And then I just wanted to close out today's event by asking all of the artists here to share what impact they hope the play has and what their hopes are for housing justice after the pandemic. So Lisa, would you be willing to start?
Sure, I'll start.
I think you muted.
Oh, what? Do it again. I
Yeah.
can unmute. I'm muted by the host.
What was
We
that?
can hear you.
We can hear you. Could you share what impact you hope the play has?
The impact that I was hoping that the play would have, Anna, was really the impact that the play had from us before. What he was talking about, sleepless nights, how it brought the people out of the woods and more to the forefront. And I was just hoping that this would help our city to understand that we have to bring them out before we can start addressing the problems. We can't keep them hid. And I think that that was addressed. And just on a personal note, just that my family and friends would just see this and see that homelessness is there's a lot more to it once you get into it than when you think. When you're not homeless, you think about homelessness. But once you are homeless, there are many things to consider that you didn't consider before. And I hope that this play just brought a little bit of insight of maybe what I've gone through and other people, and maybe bring some compassion and sympathy from our city and from our friends and family.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Steve-O, want to go next?
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, I do got a lot to say. First off, to start off with, if Biden get his way and we go to shutdowns, if it's anything like March, it was hell. Only people you saw downtown was homeless, and APD. You didn't see no people. It was just hell down there. The second thing I like to talk about is the average income of Austin is $60,000. I lost my homeless status because I make too much money. That has to change. The rapid rehouse program and the permit polling program, those two be changed. Has to be looked at. Um, Especially when we are buying all these hotels, I feel like they're leaving the rapid rehousing people out. There has to be more money for us, more money for the middle class people, especially if they don't overturn the renters program. I'm afraid that if they don't, we're going to have a lot more people out, but we're also concerned about permanent supporting people. Especially, I'm tired of people who get apartments and don't live in them, but yet we pay for them all the time. What are we going to do about it? And I'm glad I got my house, and I'm glad that the city gave us the storage program. Hallelujah. So we almost have 70 people now. So if that's being used, it's just a need. But I don't have all the answers. I'm just part of the needs. So life is still going on. And I like my little home, but I got it for 6 months. Then it's all on me. Lucky for me, I got a good job. I could pay for it. But if I had a job that pays $13 an hour, I'd be struggling to pay this $800 rent payment. So something has got to help for these rapid rehouse. I got a friend who took this 6 months house, but he still don't have a job. And what is he going to do on the 7th month? He still don't have a job. So whose fault is that? The case manager or just him taking the house? So we got to figure this one out. I appreciate it. Thank you.
We appreciate you, Steve-O. And also definitely look up the Violet Keep Safe program, a program that Steve-O very much helped initiate and bring to fruition. And it's been really amazing to see. Jeannie, you want to go, and then Stephen can close us out?
Yeah. Wow, I kind of lost it. My personal experience, I've never been homeless, but close to it. And I think everyone needs to realize that you're only one paycheck away, if that, from being homeless. And I realized, listening to everybody today, homelessness is not a disease. And people everywhere need to realize that it can happen to anybody. And I don't care how high up you are, it just means you have farther to fall. And we all have to pull together to make a difference with this. And that goes worldwide. It's not just, here in the States, it's everywhere. And I'm proud to be a part of working with this. I just feel that there has to be some more solutions. We just have to find them. and we have to be open to being a lot more creative, especially now. COVID has taught us many lessons, and one of them, I think, is the biggest one, is that we have to learn to reach out to each other and not being able to see or touch each other. Technology has been a real eye-opener for all of us. Thank goodness for the Boston people for putting up with teaching us, because when we started, I had people who had never done a conference call, much less a Zoom meeting or anything like that. So we've come miles and miles, but what is that poem? Miles to go before I sleep. So I think we still have a lot of work to do, and I'm hoping that this play goes viral so that we reach more people. And that's the main thing. And Shoshana, I really like your idea of violation, because we have to be able to laugh. Humor is our saving grace, and I think if we can get people to start thinking of management in that light, and seeing that it is really funny. It's sad, but it's funny too. We can make a lot more progress, because we get a lot further with laughter than we do by trying to beat somebody on the head or anything. That's all I've got.
Thank you, Jeannie. Stephen, want to bring us home?
Sure. I think the impact that I want the play to have, and I think that it will have, is just how real housing fragility is today, especially with the COVID shutdown and everything. I think people have really realized there's a lot that can go wrong, and they're on the street themselves. There's very little line between someone who's homeless and someone who's housed, especially some of these lower income places. That is something that I think has to be recognized by not just the public, but by leadership. That is something that is going to definitely become more aware. And really, it's time to speak out. Really, it's time to say enough is enough. And as I've said before, you really only have a voice if you use it. So now is the time to really speak about the issues you're dealing with. If you're housed, the roaches, and I've just gotten a job with the Keep Safe Storage. So I was looking around for some of these apartment complexes, and all the reviews that I've seen are, do not live here at all, bad management, roaches, bad, and on and on and on and on and on. And quite frankly, I hate to say this, I know the way it sounds, but I would prefer to be homeless rather than live in some of these places. Because I know the second I get in there and I'm in a situation like that, I'm going to speak out, and I'm going to be one of those people that winds up getting kicked out and right back on the street. So we really need to change things in this country and in this city. And I think really you've got to come together as a community. You have to bring the people together, across the table, sit down, find common ground, and build from there. And really, that's the only way we get through this.
Thank you, Stephen, and thank you to everyone for leaving us with these notes to act on. This concludes today's event, but thank you to everyone for joining us. Your support really means so much. Feel free to stick around and ask questions in the chat, and also please look out for posts and emails from us for ways to get involved. Thank you again, and we'll be here.
Love you, Anna.
Love you. So nice to see you.
Love you, Steve. Glad you got a job.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Cool.
You're our leader.
Do you have this shift, Bo and Stephen? Are you working at the same time?
Say what?
Are you working at the same time as Steve-O?
I'm working.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.